Okay, part 3 of the CDL training. I just finished the door and the running board and all that. Now I'm going to move down the side of the bus. Okay, underneath here is where I'm going to look first. And what I've got underneath here, I'm going to inspect 3 things. I'm going to inspect the frame and cross members. I'm going to inspect the drive shaft and the exhaust. Frame and cross members, I'm looking for any broken welds or excessive rust. Mainly are the 2 biggest problems we would have on all the frames and cross members, and there isn't any, so that's in good shape. The drive shaft, I'm looking at universal joints, the condition of drive shaft, and the safety loops. Universal joints are all in good shape, but as you know, there's multiples of them down there. The drive shaft looks good and straight, no damage, and all the safety loops are mounted securely and in good condition, so the drive shaft is in good condition. I'm looking at the exhaust. Make sure all the hangers are there, that all the clamps are tight, that there's no rust holes or damage to the exhaust or the muffler in any way, and there's not. It's in good shape. So my next, I'm going to move now to the rear axle, and I'm going to start all the way across the side as I look across. And the first thing I'm going to inspect over there is the brake system. I'm looking at the rotor. I can see it from here, and it's shiny, no discoloration, no gouging. It's in good shape. Looking at the calipers, the bolts are there, they keep it on, and there's nothing leaking, so it's in good condition. The pads are a minimum of 1/4 inch, so they're great, and the lines themselves are all mounted securely. There's no damage or leaking. Okay, now I'm moving to the suspension system. This has a leaf spring, and I'm looking at the springs themselves to make sure there's no cracked, broken, or missing springs, and there's not. They're in good shape. I'm looking at the mounting of the springs. There's 3 points that it mounts on. The front and the rear mount with a big bolt and a grommet and a nut, and they're both there and tight and in good shape. So the front and the backs are in good shape. And I'm looking at the U-bolts to make sure that they're in good condition, that the 4 nuts on the bottom are tight. There's no sign of anything being loose, no damage to the U-bolts, and there's not, so they're in good shape. So I'm moving across to the shock absorber. I'm looking at the top and bottom. It's mounted securely. The grommets and nuts are there. The shock itself isn't bent or leaking in any way, so it's in good condition as well. Next, I'm coming out to my tires. These are dualies back here, so I'm going to look to make sure there's no object stuck between them, and that there's no way that they're touching, because that would cause friction and blowout. I'm looking at the tread. It's got to be 2/32 on all the tires, and it looks like it's in good shape. I'm looking for uneven wear or anything stuck in the tires, and there's not. They're in good condition. I'm looking at the sidewalls. There's no cuts, no bulging, so they're in good shape. I'm looking at the rims, and here again I'm looking for dents, cracks, or welds. There is none, so we're in good shape. I'm looking at the lug nuts. They're all there. There's no rust trails, metal shavings, or shiny spots to indicate that they're loose, so they're in good shape. Look at the axle seal. All the nuts, all the bolts are there. There's nothing leaking, so it's in good condition. I'm looking at the valve stem in here, and it's tight, and this here again is where I would check the inflation of these tires with my tire gauge back here. So that's all in good shape. I'm looking at my mud flap. It's in good condition and mounted securely. So I'm going to move to the back of the bus, and I have 3 things I'm checking back here: the fuel system, the frame and cross members, and the tailpipe. So first I'm going to check my gas cap, make sure it's on, in good shape. And underneath here I'm going to look at the gooseneck that runs from the gas cap down to the gas tank, make sure that all the clamps are there. It's in good shape, no damage, and it's not. It's in good shape. I'm looking at the gas tank itself, basically looking for anything that might be leaking or any damage to it, and there's not. The pan that holds it up in place, it has 4 bolts. I'm looking at those bolts to make sure they're tight, and they're in good condition. So that is all working well. The frame and cross members, no excessive rust, nothing cracked or broken, so it's in good shape. The tailpipe back here, here again, the hanger's there. If there's any clamps, I'm checking to make sure they're tight, and they are, and there's no excessive rust or damage to the tailpipe. So it's in good shape. So now I'm looking at the back of the bus. Just the overall condition. Bumpers mounted squarely, it's in good shape. There's no cracks or damage to it, so it's in good condition. Now at this point she's going to tell you to inspect on this side of the bus things that are unique to this side of the bus, which means you don't have to do the tires because you did them over there. You don't have to look at the frame or cross members or anything because you did over there. So from here we're going to jump right up to the ramp. So that'll be the last part.